Let's begin. Today is May 31st, 2024, and we're doing the Daily Turing Machine Puzzle. Today's puzzle uses 6 criteria cards and 6 verification cards. But before we go to turingmachine.info, I just wanted to take a look at today's date. Besides it being slightly crooked, do you notice anything interesting about the digits in today's date? Well, ignoring the 0, we use all unique digits 1 through 5. And I believe that may be the last time this year that occurs. All right, let's go to turingmachine.info for the details. So today's puzzle uses the following criteria cards: 6, 13, 16, 19, 21, and 22, and uses the orange verification cards. Above you'll find the unique identifier for today's puzzle, which you can always use to go look up the details of the puzzle on turingmachine.info. Let's solve. Okay, so on our grid above we've got our 6 criteria cards. On the top row we've got criteria card A, criteria card B, criteria card C, and in the bottom row we've got criteria cards D, criteria cards E, and finally criteria card F. So if we look at criteria card A, this card looks at the middle digit, the square digit, and will let us know whether that value is an even or an odd digit. Criteria card B will compare the middle digit and the last digit and will let us know whether the square digit should be less in circle, should they be equal to each other, or should the square digit be greater than circle. Criteria card C will look at the 3 digits in our code and will let us know whether there should be more evens than odds, or vice versa, less evens than odds. Criteria card D will take a look at the first 2 digits and add them up and compare the sum to 6. So should the sum be less than 6, should it be equal to 6, or should it be greater than 6? Criteria card E, again, will look at the 3 digits in our code and will let us know whether there should be a pair of digits, a duplicate digit, as in the example 131, or alternatively, there is no pair, and it could be all distinct digits, like in the example 134, or it could be a single digit repeated 3 times, like the example 222. And finally, criteria card F will let us know a little bit about the order of the 3 digits. Should the digits be in ascending order, slightly increasing throughout, as in the example 135, or are they descending and getting smaller, as in the example 421, or potentially there is no order to them and sort of mimics the example of 231. It's no order because you notice that 2 is smaller and then it slightly gets bigger to 3, but then it falls down to 1. That's what makes it have no order. All right, so remember, today's objective is we're trying to find this one unique 3-digit code that conforms to all the criteria that we've just described. And we're going to use as our first proposal 314. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to test criteria card A, and I want to know whether that middle digit is an even or an odd. Okay, so the Turing Machine responds that it does not approve of my value for square. Notice that in my proposal I do have an odd 1 for square. So the Turing Machine basically telling me no, that middle digit should not be odd. In fact, it should be even. So that's what I'm going to write down in my notes in section A, that square is an even digit. Okay, so I'm going to go and cross out all of the odds in the middle for all the square odds. And so let's see what else we can test. Well, we do know that we do have this even squared digit, and we do have a criteria card that lets us know whether there are more evens than odds. So let's go ahead and test criteria card C. Okay, so the Turing Machine responds that it does not approve of the proposal of 314. Notice that in 314 I've got 2 odds to 1 even. So obviously there should be more even than odds. So in my notes for criteria card C, I'm going to type in even is greater than odd. Okay, so at this point, our two possibilities are that yes, indeed, there are two evens to one odd, or potentially they could all be even. We just don't know. And at this point, we really can't cross out anything in, triangle or circle. But we do have this criteria card that lets us know if there's a pair. So I think that may be useful. So let's go ahead and test criteria card E. Okay, so the Turing Machine approves of the proposal 314. Notice that the 314 are all unique. So that means that no, there are no pairs. So let's write that down in our notes for criteria card E, that there are no pairs, no pairs. Okay, so if they are all unique, let's see, let's talk about this. Could it be that they're all unique or all a single digit repeated? Is that possible? I guess that's always a possibility, but I don't tend to see too many single digit repeated 3-time examples. Obviously we can't discount it, but I typically think that they are unique. Is there anything in that we can say that, yeah, it's maybe not possible? Let's see. Yeah, I'm not too sure. But in any case, I'm going to go along with the idea that they're going to be all unique. And if that is the case, that means that when I think about there being more even than odds, that very well might be that means that there's a single 2 and a single 4 and an odd. So that means that I'll put in an additional note here in for C that there's going to be a 2, a 4, and an odd. Okay. So we already did our three Turing tests for this turn, for this proposal 314. So now we have to start thinking about how to construct a good second proposal that'll lead us to our solution. And so if you take a look at criteria card B, that square equals to circle, it's very unlikely that that's going to happen if indeed you have a 2, 4, and an odd. They're simply just not going to be equal to each other. And let's see what else. So we haven't tested D, the sum of the first 2 digits, or F, whether there's order or they're ascending or descending. So if we're going with the idea that we have two evens, a 2 and a 4, and a random odd, is there anything that we can explore with triangle and circle that will lead us to that? So the one good thing about potentially having a 2 and a 4 is that perhaps criteria card D will let us know that the sum is 6, and so that would sort of lead us to have a 2 and a 4 in for triangle and square, and then circle would have to be forced to be the odd. And so that would depending on what whether square is less than circle or square is greater than circle, I think that could lead us to potentially maybe circle being 1 or 5. Is there anything? And there's really nothing about let's see, 6. Is there any way that we could differentiate? Sure, we could say, hey, it could be a 6, but at the same time, there's nothing that leads us to know which is the 2 or the 4. There's really no ordering. So that kind of leads me to believe that no, it probably won't be a 6, because I can't see how I could know for sure that triangle's a 2 or a 4, and then vice versa for square. I don't see. I guess perhaps maybe the ordering could sort of dictate that, or if there's no order, it probably could go from 2 to 4 and then down to 3 or 1. That might cause it to have that. Let's see. So it could be 2, 4, and then 3, 1, or 4, 2, and then 3, 5. And of course, criteria card B will let us know how to order the circle. Again, a lot of what ifs, but let me go ahead and do that. So I'm going to say it's going to be 2, 4, and how could that help us? 4, 2. Well, perhaps maybe then it may be ascending or descending. So I'm going to try 2, 4, 5. Let's go ahead and see what happens there. 2, 4, 5. Okay, so yes, I'm very interested in verifying whether the sum is 6 or not. So let's go ahead and test criteria card D. Okay, so the sum is not 6. So we know then that the sum has to be either less than 6 or greater than 6. So let's go ahead and update our notes with that information for D. So triangle plus square is either less than or greater than 6. So at this point, the only thing we can conclude is that in order for it not to be 6, that means that triangle would have to be odd. That's a very interesting conclusion. The reason being is the only way you could get 6 if square is even is if triangle is even. So I believe then that circle is going to be even and triangle is odd. So let me see if I can, where can I put those notes? So I think here, I think I'm going to put it in this section here. Well, we do have odds and evens here. So let's actually say, let's say that triangle is odd. Is odd. And then let me put down slightly lower here that circle is even. And so that is a very interesting sort of conclusion. So we're going to say that circle is even. Okay, so let's go ahead and cross out all the evens in triangle. So that would be 2 and 4. And then let's go ahead and cross out all the odds in circle. Oops. All right, almost there. For some reason, my computer's lagging a little bit. Okay, so what else have we not tested? We haven't tested B, comparing square and circle. Oh, that's interesting. So since they're even, that'll let us know what it should be. Wow, this will be an interesting discovery if it comes to fruition. So yeah, let's go ahead and test criteria card B. Okay, so it does not approve of what I have. Remember, I'm comparing square and circle. So here I have square is less than circle. We've already concluded that since there are no pairs, they can't be equal to each other. So that means that square should be greater than circle. So let me go ahead and write that down in my notes for criteria card B. That square should be greater than circle. Okay, and so what that means is that square has to be the 4 and circle has to be the 2. So let's go ahead and update our numbers above. So we got 4 for square and then 2 for circle. So let me cross out the 4 down here. Well, this has been a very interesting development. Okay, so the only thing we have not tested is criteria card F, and based on what we have so far, I don't see how. Well, we do have the sum. What do we have? Oh, we haven't figured out what the sum is or the order. So we know it's not 6. So let's take a look. We have sums of 5, 7, and 9. And we still have this ordering. So let's see. So let me actually write out the possible solutions down here. So we have 1, 4, 2. We also have 3, 4, 2. And then 5, 4, 2. Okay, so what can we say about their sums? So the first one has a sum that's less than 6, and both 3, 4, 2 and 5, 4, 2 have sums greater than 6. And then we also have this other criteria card that we have not tested about order. So it looks like the first 2 have no order. Notice that in both cases they go up to 4 and then come down. And then 5, 4, 2 is descending. So that's very interesting. So I'm kind of debating whether, well, I can't test D again. So I can't do that. The only thing I can test is F. And so it may come out to be, we may have to come up with a third proposal because I don't think there's a way to test. If it does come out to be, well, notice I do have ascending. So that's actually not even very helpful because none of these are ascending, so it really would not add any information. 1, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, yeah, none of those are ascending, so I believe it would come out false and it wouldn't really give us any new information. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to not do a third test, and I'm going to have to pick one of those values to see what we get. All right, so I am going to go to my next proposal. So I'm going to say I'm going to enter next turn, and so now it's prompting me to enter that proposal. So it's very interesting. I think I'm going to choose, let's see, which one would be a good middle of the road. I think 3, 4, 2 may be good. Let's see, is there one that I prefer over the other? Anything else that could help us to determine? All right, so I think I'm just going to choose 3, 4, 2. Let's see, 3, 4, 2. What if I choose 1, 4, 2? Yeah, I think I'm going to choose 3, 4, 2. All right. So now I'm going to test. I'm going to test the sum. So I'm going to test criteria card D again and see what we get. Okay, so it does approve of the sum being greater. So that means we know it can't be 1, 4, 2. But now the question is there order? Is it descending or is it no order? So at this point, I don't think I can guess as to one or the other. So I think, yeah, I'm going to have to test criteria card F and confirm that it's, one or the other. So let's go ahead and test that. Yeah, so I chose well, but unfortunately I had to, be sure. So it's not 5, 4, 2. So let's cross this out. And let's also update our notes. So we did do criteria card D, which was that the sum was greater than. So let's go ahead and cross out this little portion here. And we also confirm that there is no order, since 3, 4, 2 has no order. Okay, so let's see. Since that's the case, the sum greater than 6 would eliminate or cross out the 1, since that gave us a sum that's smaller than 6. And then we could cross out 5, because that would mean that it would be descending, and obviously there is no order. So I'm going to go ahead and cross out the 5. And so I think we've got our final solution, and that would be 3, 4, 2. Let's type it in right here. Okay, again, it's still a little slow. So let's go to turingmachine.info and verify our solution of 3, 4, 2. All right, 3, 4, 2. And let's verify. Okay, fantastic, we got it. But I am concerned about did we beat the machine or not? So let's go back and see, what did we test? So we tested ACE and then BD. All right, so ACE. So A and C were incorrect and E was correct. And then we did BD, and they were both incorrect. BD. And then in our final turn, we did DF, and they were both correct. All right, how do we do? Oh, wow. So, yeah, again, maybe a misstep on my part. It took me 3 rounds, 7 questions, and the Turing Machine did it in 2 rounds, 6 questions. So, yeah, if anybody noticed, anything wrong with, obviously, the choices were mine of what to test, but did I miss out on any maybe hidden information or certain conclusions that would have helped me at least match the Turing Machine? Obviously, everybody makes different choices of what criteria cards to pick, what are the initial proposals. Obviously, there's some luck involved. But if you notice anything that I could have maybe made a better decision, please share that in the comments. If you like the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so that you don't miss out on any future videos. Well, that's it for today. Thanks so much. Have a great one.